Success loves quiet, not due to its secrecy or mystique, but because it requires room and time to develop. Like a seed, success starts subtly under the ground. It doesn't make a public announcement. It doesn't need approval or attention. It just operates quietly and consistently, till a certain day, for everyone to see, it rises towering and powerful. Nevertheless, a lot of us feel driven to share this with the world. What we're doing, what we want to do, and how we intend to get there. Why is that? Perhaps it's a craving for acceptance or acknowledgement. Perhaps it's the excitement of expressing I'm on my way. Look at me. However, this is the issue. The more you discuss your goals, the less energy you need to carry things out. Isn't it an odd paradox? Too much sharing may take away the very drive you need to be successful. Throughout my years of professional and personal growth, this is something I've seen repeatedly. Those with lofty goals and lofty ideals, concepts that have the potential to transform their life, talk themselves out of precisely what they intended to accomplish. How by informing too many individuals too quickly, they let doubt's icy winds buffet their hopes. Distraction and criticism, and before they realize it, their previous sense of fire has extinguished. I want to share with you today the idea of sticking to your plans, not out of concealment, but near your chest, but without insight. We'll investigate how to develop an attitude that prioritizes deeds above words, prioritize outcomes over accolades and hoopla over publicity. Because in the end, what counts is not what you promise to do, it's what you really achieve. It might be quite effective to keep your plans to yourself. There is the nuanced connection between purpose and action. Consider it each time you communicate your goals, your objectives and aspirations, your arrangements with other people. A portion of the energy is being released by you. You're giving something away, a portion of the flame that drives your behavior, and it's usually best to keep the fire confined. Fueled by the solitude of your own thoughts instead of being prematurely exposed to the world. One explanation is straightforward. When you inform others of your plans, you provide the appearance of advancement. You mention that I'm launching a new company, else I'll shed 20 pounds, and everyone around you smiles and nods, perhaps even give them a hand clap to show support. Indeed, it feels nice, the feeling of affirmation and approbation. But here's the risk. The mind may interpret such recognition as success. Actually, you haven't taken any action yet. However, a little portion of the prize has already been tasted, and what follows, the need to act, becomes less urgent. The fire subsides. The fantasy that used to feel so real, so many possibilities, begins to feel as if you've already accomplished something in your head, so that you get comfortable. And the activity, the actual hard labor that turns the idea become a reality, is delayed. Dreams perish in the womb of good intentions like this. Now, some may say, wouldn't it be beneficial to discuss your plans? Doesn't it hold you responsible? Well, there is a place for accountability, but only when and with the appropriate people. You see that not everyone pays attention to your plans, will comprehend them. Some people will mistrust your skills or question your motivations. Perhaps they won't say it aloud. However, their doubts will linger, like a cloud covering your aspirations. And if you don't exercise caution, that darkness may infiltrate your own thoughts. All of a sudden, you're doubting yourself. You want to know whether they're correct. If your concept turns out to be less fantastic than you first believed. Now, I'm not advocating that you never express your opinions. No, it isn't the purpose. Selective sharing is the key. Carefully and only when it's appropriate, you must safeguard your eyesight in its early phases. Like a gardener shielding delicate plants from freezing temperatures. Tell those who will support your goals about them. Avoid stepping on them and look for mentors or close companions who really want you to succeed. But even so, don't go into too much detail. Keep your thoughts to yourself. Turn into a show before they've had time to develop. Here's something more to think about. The element of surprise. The ability to perform the unexpected has a certain power in allowing your outcomes do the talking. Consider this. You've spent months working on a project in secret, maybe years. You haven't mentioned it to anybody outside of your group of trustworthy people, and then you reveal it to the world one day. An accomplished objective or final product. A brilliant accomplishment. The effect is much bigger than if you had been discussing it. The whole time revealing teasers and sneak peeks along the route, people will be in awe of your accomplishments. Because it appeared suddenly, it serves as a reminder to act. Is always more remarkable than words. Years in the past, a young guy I know aspired to launch his own company. He was enthusiastic and full of ideas, and he was eager to share it with everyone. Whenever possible, he would talk endlessly about his intentions, what he intended to do, how successful would he be, how things were about to alter in his life. People listened courteously, but gradually they began to get doubtful. Why, since nothing occurred for months? People lost faith in him the more he spoke, and he gradually lost faith in himself. Compare that to a different guy I know, a Midwest farmer. He had an idea to transform his little family farm into a successful business, but rather than discussing it, he just read books and went to work. Examined prosperous farmers and covertly put new methods into practice. He kept his intentions a secret. He let his findings speak for themselves, and when his crops were ready to be sold, he took everyone by surprise. With his harvest's quality and quantity, people wanted to know how you accomplished it, and all he did was grin and say, by working while nobody else was around. You see, that has a lesson. The less you speak, the more time and effort you must put into acting. The less you look for approval, the more self-confidence you develop, because the less you reveal your ideas too soon, the more authority you have over your story. There is no need for concealment. It has to do with strategy. It's about realizing the value of your dreams, safeguarding, and that your deeds will always be more powerful than your words. How often do you communicate your plans or an objective with someone only to experience a subsequent decline in drive? How often have you allowed other people's perspectives to shape your course? These are significant inquiries because they demonstrate the extent to which we cede control. When we spoke too soon, however, the good news is that you may regain that authority. You might decide to concentrate on taking action, to protect your aspirations and allow your achievement to be the thing that speaks for you. Isn't there a lot of noise in the world? Distractions from opinions. You can find unsolicited advice anywhere. Yet when you become very open about your aspirations, that noise is something you're allowing into your life. You're allowing criticism to come in, uncertainty, and even jealousy. Even the best-laid plans may be derailed by these factors. Strategies. If you're not cautious, consider it when you share your great idea with someone. How often do they reply? With sincere zeal and assistance. Occasionally they do. However, individuals tend to react cautiously, doubt or even mild disillusionment. Are you sure that's a good idea? They could ask. Something that seems dangerous. Or I know someone who made an unsuccessful attempt at it. These remarks may seem innocuous. However, they have the ability to sow doubt in your mind. And uncertainty may be harmful. It may expand swiftly and suffocate your ambition's roots. However, you should be on the lookout for more than simply naysayers. They are also jealous. Those who oppose your aspirations because it serves as a reminder of their shortcomings. They may not state it directly, yet their subliminal hostility might sap your vitality. Nevertheless, and the well-meaning advisors come next, Those who really want to assist yet end up perplexing you with opposing viewpoints and uninvited recommendations. All of this cacophony might cause you to stray from your initial plan, leaving you disorganized and unsure. Because of this, prudence is very potent. When you don't share your plans, you're keeping your attention safe. You're establishing a calm environment in which your thoughts may flourish, free from outside intervention. It's similar to creating a greenhouse for your aspirations, a location where, under the correct circumstances, they can thrive until they are resilient enough to withstand the weather. It's critical to begin creating momentum. Momentum is a valuable resource. It's the movement you make forward. When you take deliberate action to achieve your objectives, and the key is here, silence fosters momentum. When you're intent on finishing the task instead of discussing the job, you establish a rhythm. Every little action you do strengthens the one after it, and you've advanced far before you realize it. Yet, when you begin discussing your intentions too soon, you break that rhythm. You turn your attention from action to justification, from carrying out to defending, and each time you have to explain yourself. Right now, you're not making any progress. It's like attempting to operate a vehicle while continuously pausing to demonstrate your destination to others. You get slower, and worst, you lose your sense of direction. That results from continuing to move. I would want to tell you another tale, one that demonstrates momentum's power and restraint. One of my friends made the decision to write a book. It was a dream of a lifetime, and he was committed to seeing it through. However, rather of making his ideas public, he silently resolved to write 500 words per day until the book was completed. He kept his actions a secret from everyone, not even his closest pals. He just toiled in solitude day after day. He eventually revealed it months later. With a select group of reliable individuals, their response utter awe. They were astounded by his accomplishments, not just due to the quality of the book, but because he had carried it out without looking for approval or attention, and the book's publication date. Not because of any big announcements, it was a success. But since the piece was self-explanatory, let me now tell you about one of my other friends, someone who had the same enthusiasm for writing so, rather than going to work. He discussed his ideas for months. He would call to give outlines and provide updates, and solicit feedback on each and every aspect. He wrote less, the more he spoke, and the initiative ultimately failed. Why, thus he devoted all of his work to getting acceptance. Rather than gaining momentum, these two tales contain a potent message. Confidence is bred by action, while much chatting causes hesitancy. When you behave consistently, even in little amounts, you demonstrate your abilities to yourself. You establish a record, a feeling of achievement that drives your advancement. However, when you speak excessively, you get trapped in the domain of potentialities. What might be without ever going through the transition to reality. Here's the deal. Some folks are concerned about keeping their plans confidential. Makes them seem distant or mysterious. But here's the reality. Being discreet doesn't mean excluding others. It's about maintaining your concentration. It's about realizing how valuable your dreams are, and that some people don't deserve to be in the front row to your trip. When you are planting a garden, consider it this way. The whole neighborhood isn't invited. To move through the dirt prior to the seeds sprouting, you gently irrigate the earth to keep it safe, and you bide your time till the first shoots emerge. You invite others only after that. To appreciate the results of your efforts, the same holds true for your objectives. You're not being secretive if you keep things private. You're acting strategically. You're allowing yourself room to develop, to acquire knowledge and adjust free from the demands of outside expectations. Then, when it's time to showcase your accomplishments, it will be even more potent because actual outcomes support it. Now, here's a task for you. The next time you make a goal, avoid the temptation to tell everyone about it. Instead, put that energy into action. Put it in writing and create a plan, and silently take the first step, purposefully and completely. Recall impressing others with your intentions is not the aim. It's to show off your achievements to yourself. Something is there. It's really freeing to move silently. It releases you from the burden of expectations from others. This permits you to do business as you see fit. Consider it. When you tell the world about your plans, you're drawing attention to yourself. Suddenly, people are observing, awaiting, and maybe passing judgment that pressure may be oppressive. Particularly when a project is just getting started, while circumstances are still ambiguous and changeable. You see, there is seldom a direct path to success. It's a process of making mistakes, of moving one stride back and 2 steps ahead. As well as when you're in the spotlight, those failures may seem more severe. Every error turns into a possible area for criticism. Every delay raises questions. But when you don't share your plans, you allow yourself to fail in silence, to grow from your errors without the additional weight of other viewpoints. Because of this, discretion is more than simply a tactic. You offer it to yourself as a present. It's a means of establishing a secure environment, place you may try new things, develop and hone your ideas without interruption. And now for the lovely part. When you're not looking for affirmation or acceptance, you become closer to your own intuition. You begin to have more faith in yourself. To use your own discretion instead of other people's viewpoints. I understand your thoughts. Isn't feedback crucial? Don't I need other people's opinions to improve my ideas? And the response is in the affirmative. Feedback is really helpful. However, it must arrive at the appropriate moment, and from the appropriate individuals. Not everyone is able to provide you with helpful criticism, and not all of the phases of your trip are when to look for it early, when your eyesight is still developing. It is preferable to concentrate on the actual task. When you've advanced, when you've constructed a tangible, now is the moment to ask for input. From those you like and trust. I used to work with a dude. He has extraordinary talent for seeing chances. He had a talent for identifying possibilities when others saw barriers. But there was one fatal defect about him. He was unable to stop discussing his thoughts. Each time he had a fresh idea, he would quickly spread the word to anybody who would listen. And what took place? Most of the time, the proposal would be implemented by someone else before him. He revealed his intentions, giving up his edge. Too soon. Compare that to another businessman I was acquainted with. A modest, quiet man who didn't discuss his job too much. He wasn't ostentatious or arrogant. Nevertheless, he was very skilled at carrying out. He was busy constructing while others were occupied with conversation. Then, when he displayed his creations, it was consistently excellent and well-planned, polished and prepared for public viewing. He didn't have to make his plans public, because his outcomes were more powerful than words could possibly be. This leads us to yet another important idea. Your greatest advertising is your outcomes. When you accomplish something noteworthy, people will pay attention. Without uttering any words, your accomplishments will draw notice on their own, and that focus will have far more significance, more than anything you could have produced by discussing your goals too soon. Consider it a cascading impact. Your actions cause ripples that spread far, affecting others in ways that words could never. However, there's another justification for keeping your plans confidential, one that is often disregarded. It has to do with the ability to concentrate. When you tell others about your plans, you're not only wasting energy. Additionally, you're attracting distractions. People will begin to inquire. making recommendations, and expressing their own thoughts. It has the ability to draw you in a dozen distinct ways. Before you realize it, you've forgotten what your first objective was, and your hitherto unclouded eyesight has grown blurry. One of your most valuable assets is attention. This enables you to channel directing your energies in one direction to break through the clutter and achieve tangible advancements. Is the most effective strategy to keep your concentration is to restrict the quantity of individuals who may access your plans. Having less voices in your ear, the simpler it is to keep on course. How would it appear if you used this idea in your own life? Consider beginning a new project, a company or an artistic undertaking, a personal objective, and keeping it a secret. Imagine working steadily and silently, without looking for acceptance or affirmation. What might you achieve in that quiet area? How far could you go? Without the burden of external expectations. This sums up the main points of our discussion today. The flexibility to work as you see fit, the authority to allow your words are not as loud as your deeds, and the discernment to safeguard your aspirations until they're prepared for distribution. It's not about being distant or secretive. The key is to be deliberate. It's important to understand that your energy, your momentum, and your attention are too important to be wasted on idle gossip about idols. And when the moment comes to demonstrate the job you've been doing, then everyone can see the results. You'll discover that your accomplishments have consequences, something that words could never express. Knowing that will give you a sense of fulfillment. You spoke about more than simply your dreams, you brought them to pass. Thus, the notion of keeping your plans confidential is not about concealing or withholding. It's about realizing how valuable your energy is. And concentrate. It's about safeguarding your dreams' brittle beginnings, nurturing them in quiet, until their strength allows them to stand independently. It's important to understand that action is all stronger than words, and the outcomes are more powerful than any announcement. Never could. If you decide to keep your plans private, you're speaking to yourself, not the world, but to oneself. What you're saying, I have faith in my abilities to finish this. Applause is not necessary for me to begin, and I may pursue my dreams without permission. That level of assurance is uncommon, and it has tremendous power. It allows you to move freely and fearlessly, to grow from your errors without passing judgment, and to advance at your own speed. And now for the lovely part. When you're successful, you'll motivate others. Not in the way you said you would, but based on what you've done. Your deeds will shine like a light, a reminder that genuine advancements arise from calm resolve and discipline. You'll demonstrate to them that it doesn't matter how loudly you declare your goals. It all depends on how relentlessly you pursue them. Thus, as you go from this point forward, I want to urge you to adopt this way of thinking. The next time you make a goal, avoid the temptation to tell everyone about it. Instead, put it in writing. Create a strategy and begin working. Let your deeds speak for you, and let your outcomes serve as evidence. Have faith that when the moment is appropriate, the world will take note, and it will be because you earned it when they do. Keep in mind that achievement doesn't need shouting. It doesn't need a stage or spotlight. It develops silently, slowly, when no one is looking and in the quiet times. Thus, protect your dreams and cultivate your attention, and let your deeds to do the talking. That's how real success is achieved. And it's a worthwhile journey.